Hey, folks, good afternoon, evening, good morning, perhaps, depending where you are. Thanks a ton for joining us. It's 5 p.m. here in Toronto. It's, I believe, 9 p.m. out in the UK. Uh, and of course, you may be watching this on a recording, so who knows? But for those who have joined us live, thank you so much for taking some time out of your evening today. My name's Logan. I'll be sort of hosting, but I am joined much more importantly by Eleanor Kendrick of the University of Worcester. She can correct that pronunciation as necessary, but she'll speak to us a little bit about the UK in general, Worcester specifically, and of course, we will take some Q&A at the end. So feel free to use the Q&A panel there, chat panel, whatever is convenient for you. We'll try to tackle some questions at the end, but feel free to drop them in throughout the show. So without further ado, thanks again for your time, and I'll toss it to Eleanor. Thanks for your time, Eleanor. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Logan. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for joining this evening. But yeah, so got the pronunciation right. It is the University of Worcester, and I'll just get right into it. So before we start, I'll introduce myself again. Yeah, my name's Eleanor. I'm the International Officer for North America. And I've also got a few photos on here because I was actually a graduate from the University of Worcester. So I know what it's like to be a student and also the application process and things and the work side of the University of Worcester as well. So if you've got any questions, hopefully I'll be able to answer those for you. So to start with, where are we? So the University of Worcester is located right in the heart of England. It has excellent direct train links to Birmingham and London. So about 30 to 40 minutes by train to Birmingham, which is our closest airport, as you can see, just north of us. And then we are a 2-hour direct train to London, like London as a whole, as well. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. You've got a lovely city with lots of greenery and things to do, but then you've got easy access to bigger cities as well if you did want to explore whilst you're a student here. So during this evening, I will be talking about what Worcester as a university is like, scholarships, tuition fees, the campus life, student life, and also just to note that we are currently first for quality education in the UK by the Times Higher Education University Impact Rankings. And we are also first for sustained employment, which is further study once students graduate after that, like up to 5 years. And that is by the Longitudinal Educational Outcomes Survey as well in 2025. So we are a campus-based university. If I just press play there, our main campus is St John's, and we're just a 10-minute walk along the river to our city campus and our Severn campus. We do also have a smaller fourth campus, which is called Lakeside, and that's about a 10-minute drive away. But we're called a campus university because everything's walking distance. You can easily get access to everywhere and into the city centre as well, so you do not need to worry about a car or public transport. But we do have a bus route that goes right through our campuses. So if you want to get the bus, then you can. So our main campus, as I mentioned, is called St John's, and this has been the university's home since the university was founded in 1946 after the Second World War. So most of our lectures take place on this campus. We have a wide range of accommodation on this campus as well, with many cafes, shops, and our student union as well. And then heading, as you remember, down the river, we have our Severn campus. So this is home to the University of Worcester Arena, which is the top right photo, and medical school, which is a newly built medical school, which is another gold building on the left there. And we are currently building, we're just in the process of building our Dukes. It's called the Dukes building, which is the photo in the middle on the right there. And that will be a building used for our sports and medical students as well. And we do also have our University of Worcester gym there on this campus. And then just across the river, we have our city campus, which is home to the business and art students. We also have accommodation on this campus as well. And this campus is right next to our library, which is called the Hive. And it's called the Hive because I get it looks like a beehive, I guess. And we do like a gold building at Worcester, so you've probably noticed that by now with the different buildings that you've seen. This was actually Europe's first joint public and university library, which, and a fun fact, it was opened by the late Her Majesty the Queen in 2012. So to go into the kind of courses that we offer, we have 8 schools, academic schools at the university. So allied health and community, arts and humanities, education, nursing and midwifery, science and the environment, sport and exercise science, the Three Counties Medical School and our Worcester Business School as well. And within these 8 schools, we have over 200 courses available, both undergraduate and postgraduate. So instead of listing all of our courses that we do have, I thought I'd highlight a couple that I know a lot of our North American students tend to, find interesting, and they're quite popular courses for our Canadian students as well. So we have our BSc psychology course and our BSc occupational therapy course as well. And these are both 3 years long. So most of our undergraduate courses are 3 years. We do also have a medicine course as well. This is slightly different. It's a graduate entry course program, which means it requires a bachelor's degree in order to apply for this course. And it is slightly shorter. It's a 4-year course instead of the usual undergraduate medicine 5-year course. So it's just like a slightly different pathway for that one. And then we also offer masters in physiotherapy, which is a pre-registration, and that's a 2-year masters. So our masters range from either 1 year or 2 years. And yeah, we try and make our facilities as engaging as possible. So we have a medical school, which is, as I mentioned, a new building, which has mock GP rooms, mock hospital wards as well. So a lot of our science subjects use all of our new facilities there. And then just to point out these are the master's courses, but just a couple of the sport courses, which is a master's in sport and exercise science. This is a 1-year master's, and then we have 2 masters in sports pathways, which is applied performance analysis and international sport management. And these are both 2-year courses. And again, in terms of facilities, we have at Worcester, we try and make it as engaging and as fun as possible. So for facilities for our sports students, we have the arena that you saw, which is a 2,000 seated arena, and it also has different like, fitness, therapy, and conference suites there as well. There's a human performance lab to monitor physiological like assessments. There's a biomechanical lab, which is it's actually one of the largest dedicated 3D motion capture facilities in the UK. And these facilities are both for our undergraduate students to use and our postgraduates. So you're getting great teaching also with great facilities to use that you can use throughout your whole degree as well. So obviously I've only just picked a handful there, and we offer so many more courses as well. So you can either scan the QR code now and have a little look at it later, or just visit our website and it will give you an A to Z list of all the courses we offer. I know I mentioned quite vocational practical courses. However, like I say, we do try and make it as engaging as possible. So an example of this would be LLB law students. For those students, we actually have a law courtroom on campus instead of just learning the theory in a lecture hall. And this was actually used as a proper courtroom in the 2020 lockdown, which is quite a good fun fact as well. But now it's back to our students to use. And we also have for our forensic and applied biology students and our forensic psychology, students, we have a forensic house on campus, which is where the lecturers will set up mock crime scenes and the students can go in and investigate. So again, this just gives you an example of how engaging that we are. I've also added a few additional stats on here as well. So you've got first for teaching in our biological and sports science courses, and we're seventh in the UK for graduate prospects for our sport courses, and seventh in the UK for oh sorry, I've just I've just read that one. First for quality quality teaching, which in 2024 it was by the Times and Sunday Times, I think, Good University rankings, and that's for our law, social work, and sociology degrees as well. And we're also top 10 for student satisfaction as well in 2025. Whether you're interested in some rankings. And then in terms of entry requirements for these courses, some of our courses may offer different entry requirements. So it's best to, again, check our website and the QR code that was just there just for our courses, and it will explain what entry requirements we offer. But it's between International Bachelor of 29 to 30, a BBC to B3Bs at A level, GPA 3.0 or equivalent, because I know there's different entry requirements for different high school qualifications. So if you want to know specifics, then obviously you can always contact us and we can help you with any questions you have about this. But yeah, like I say, some things can be a bit different. So for example, our medicine course asks for a bachelor's degree as well. And then before you apply, you need to have either passed the GAMSAT or UCAT test. So there's sorts of different things, or some courses may have a little look at your personal statement as well as your grades to see if you've got relevant work experience. For example, our physiotherapy course does that as well. So yeah. And then in terms of tuition fees, we do actually have quite affordable tuition fees compared to the UK. So I've put our general bachelor's undergraduate fee on there and our general master's fee. Again, check our website because some courses may be slightly different depending on what course you're interested in. And we do also offer scholarships for our North American students, and you can achieve up to a £3,000 scholarship based on your academic achievement. So the grade that you're doing in high school, or if you're applying for a master's in your bachelor's degree. And this is automatically deducted off your tuition fee. So you can either get £1,000, £2,000 or £3,000. And that's deducted off each year of study. So obviously it's not all about studying for the course when you go to university. A lot of it is also about the student life and the kind of extracurricular that you'll be getting up to at university. I know a lot of North American universities are very sports focused, and at Worcester we are too. We have over 70 sports societies at the university. So you can be a part of a society that maybe relates to your course, like a debating society as well, or theatre societies, or you can join a sports club. So we have loads of sports clubs such as American football, field hockey, rugby, tennis, and these all compete in our University League books each year. And we also have a varsity against a rival university where we compete in all sports, and it takes place over a week or so. And then we compete against who's going to win the trophy. So, and that brings all the students together, and it's a real great community on campus when that time of year comes. And also joining a sport or a society is a great way to meet like-minded people. When you arrive on campus, we have like a give it a go week where you can try any sport or society you like and see if it's something that you're interested in before you become a member. So our sports societies are located in our Students' Union, and our Students' Union is a charity organisation which is run separately from the university, and they are there for the students. So they are the voice for the students if they need any support or any additional help. The Students' Union are there to support you. We have loads of social space on our campuses as well. We have a student bar on campus, and loads of different events that happen as well. And we do a lot of charity and fundraising throughout the year, which is great to get involved in. Sometimes when you're at a university, away from home, you may need a little bit extra support with various things. And at Worcester, we make it so easy to get that help and support. We have a desk called First Point, and it really is in the name. It's the first point of call for all students, whether there's whether you need help for mental health, careers advice, or help with disabilities and dyslexia. We've got the student support services, that will just help you, and all point you in the right direction. Um, it also could mean you have lost your I don't know, your student card and you need a new one. So this desk is the first point of call and they can help you with anything. We do also have a therapy dogs that come on campus around the probably busier deadline periods. And it's just a great way to kind of relax and stroke some dogs and yeah, maybe get away from the stress of assignment writing and revising and things. So we do like a lot of things like that on campus, which is quite nice to get involved in as well. And we do have a whole range of on-campus accommodation at the university. So most of it, as I mentioned, is on our St John's campus, and then we have a bit on our city campus as well, and then also university managed housing. So accommodation ranges between 131 to £220 per week. And this is for this coming year, from September 2025, and it is based off a 40-week contract. So you're not paying for the full year, you're paying for the time that you're there, and then you don't need to pay over summer. And these rooms include a shared bathroom, or you can have one where you've got a sink in your room and you then share a bathroom, or you can choose an accommodation that has an ensuite or a studio, which is where you've got like a kitchenette in your room and a double bed, and different things. So there's different kind of standards that we have that are all different price ranges. And when you're applying to accommodation, you can pick three preferences and then hopefully you'll get one of your choices as well. And then within this price, we have all bills, contents insurance included. The communal space is regularly cleaned. Obviously, if you choose an ensuite, then you've got to clean that yourself. And we have 24-hour security and emergency maintenance as well. And it also have a free gym membership. So those in their first year living on campus can receive a free gym membership for the first year, which is a great incentive. Although when I was a student, I'm not either we didn't have this or I didn't use it. But yeah, it's also a good little tip to have, a little thing to have, I guess. And again, it's all of our accommodation is all walking distance to all of our facilities, our lectures and things as well. I feel like I've kind of whizzed through that. So I will just leave you with a bit of a thank you for listening. And I've got two student testimonials, little quotes that they've of current students, which are they're both in their masters in physiotherapy from Canada, and I believe they're really enjoying it so far. They're in their first year, so they're towards the end of their first year, so they're going into their second year. So I thought I'd leave their quotes on there for you to read. I've put our email on there as well. So if you've got any questions that you don't want to ask now or you think of later, then please do let me know. And I'll link to our web page and our Instagram pages on there as well. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. And if you've got any questions, please let me know.
Thanks very much, Eleanor. It seems like we maybe do have a student who's sort of composing a question in the chat. I see kind of typing hasn't been submitted yet, so maybe we'll just give them a moment or two to formulate their thoughts. In the interim, can you tell us at all about direct entry programs for stuff like law and medicine? And I ask because these are questions that we often get about schools in the UK, which is what is direct entry and sort of why should I care kind of thing from a high school perspective.
Yes, so our the application process can be different for different courses. So for our LLB course, you will need, I think it's a minimum of three Bs or equivalent. That's at A level. So obviously we've got equivalencies as well. And that doesn't require, I believe there's no interview for that course. Obviously medicine is slightly different. So when you apply, you need to have passed the UCAT or GAMSAT test. We don't, those are the only two that we take. And we also need, obviously, your a first or a 2-1 in your bachelor's degree as well. You can actually apply without a science-related bachelor's degree. However, there's additional requirements that you'll need, for example, A levels or GCSEs that will need to be science degrees that will need to be science grades that will need to be higher, sorry. But if you're applying with a science related bachelor's, then you need a first or a 2-1. And then you get filtered down, and then there's also 2 panel interviews that you'll need to go through as well for medicine. If that makes sense.
Interesting. Yeah, the interview thing is something we don't spend much time kind of thinking about or talking about. Any advice for nailing those interviews? Can they be done online?
Yeah, well, I guess medicine is probably a little bit more strict than some of our other courses. Um, it also depends, I guess, on the year and the application numbers. But for medicine, I'm not too sure kind of what the questions or things that they ask for. But I guess the first one is with our student lecturers. So, for example, some of our students come to us in undergraduate and do biomedical science, biochemistry, and they study that for 3 years. And then they're actually guaranteed an interview if they then want to go on to do medicine. So that definitely helps. So if you're a current student wanting to go into medicine, that's definitely an advantage, I guess, for you. Um, and you'll know the lecturers as well, or have maybe spoke to them. So that definitely is useful for you. Um, but yeah, that's probably you're not guaranteed obviously entry if you study with us, but you miss a few of the steps and they can help you with preparing for some of the tests as well. And then you're guaranteed an interview, which is quite useful.
Cool.
But
Okay. Yeah.
some of our courses sorry, some of our courses look at their personal statements, so they may not have an interview. But for example, physiotherapy, they'll maybe look at any work experience that you've
Hmm.
done. It doesn't have to directly link to physiotherapy, but something that's around caring for people, things like that, that definitely helps because physiotherapy can be very high in demand. We do get a lot of applications for this course,
Mhm.
and some of our placement courses can have limited numbers. And also for medicine, obviously, you've got limited international numbers as well, which I'm sure you've heard from at the universities. But yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Some familiar refrains, in fact. Okay, so thanks for that. We do have a question from one of our viewers and maybe a few more, and I've got some from the registration as well. So we'll start with a question from Emma. Emma's a Canadian undergrad, currently pursuing a Bachelor of Business Admin, interested in coming to get a master's. Sounds like MBA, essentially. Any thoughts or recommendations on business programs out in the UK at Worcester?
Yeah, so business is also a very popular course at the university. We have a whole range of business courses. We do have MBA. We have business management, marketing, yeah, different courses like that. MBA course is also very popular for our international students. We have a whole different range of modules and in certain optional modules that you can choose as well. And like I say throughout the presentation about engagement and trying keeping things a bit more practical with some of our courses. So for this course, they'll involve a lot of I guess project work, group work, and different maybe presentations that you'll do as well. So we try and make it as engaging as possible. So you're not just sitting in a lecture hall full of loads of people trying to make notes, listening to a lecturer. There will be seminars and group work and things as well to make it a little bit more fun.
Right on. I have been one of those blades of grass in the lecture hall field, and yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a question from Simran here about, sounds like they are an international high school student here in Canada, so non-Canadian. Curious about the fee structure and application process to perhaps come to the UK. Is there any advantage from your point of view to graduating with a, say, an Ontario secondary school diploma here in Canada? As opposed to, for example, like high school in India.
I don't believe so. Obviously there's different entry requirements for different high school courses that high school qualifications that there are. We do in terms of fee status, we have an international fee, which is a non-EU fee and an EU fee. So the EU fee gets paid the UK fee, and our international fee obviously gets the scholarship, which is up to £3,000. But I don't believe there's any advantage on doing different high school qualifications. So no, it's kind of all kind of together, and it's just assessed individually, I guess, and the equivalent grades are put together.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense and sort of accords with some of the other responses I've heard in other webinars when people ask about IB diplomas, right? International Baccalaureate does that, or like what advantages does that confer? And it seems the general consensus is not many. Is that kind of your experience too with IB?
Yeah, I mean, I understand international baccalaureate is very intense and can be potentially maybe harder than some other qualifications, but we look at obviously between 29 and 30 for the IB. So maybe sometimes it can be at an advantage, but yeah, we don't really look at it like that. It's kind of assessed by our admissions team, and then we go off the grades that are needed as an equivalent to get in.
Makes sense. Okay, and we've got some more action in the chat, which is great. So Emma's got a follow-up. Does Worcester offer any opportunities for internships or paid co-op placements at undergrad and grad? Emma, great question. Everyone's always wondering that, so thanks for asking it. Go ahead, Emma.
Yes, we do have different placements options that you can get involved in. We also have work placement modules as well, which is where students within the module, students can get work experience around Worcester. We have great companies that we have a good relationship with where students have done work experience with them. So we do try and get the students to find their own work placements and things. But obviously, if they are struggling or they need a bit of help, then we've got links to loads of companies that, especially for like business, for example, that they can, get involved with and check out their work and do their work experience. For our work placement modules, it does depend on the course, but it's usually between 50 to 100 hours. And that's as one set module. So you will do like a little bit each week, for example. And then at the end, you'll have like a project or a presentation to do as well, based on the work experience that you've done.
Cool, cool. And there's some maybe assistance in sort of tracking down a placement. I know some schools here in Canada at least sort of say, go find a co-op now, good luck. Is there any sort of backup kind of support?
Yeah. like you say, we have a whole list of different places that we can find the students. We say for them to have a look at to find somewhere because it's, great experience. But then, yeah, we do have help, and we do have our careers team, which is at First Point, the desk, and they're able to help out the students as well. And then in terms of, obviously, if it's a placement, that's already within a course, for example, nursing, midwifery, physiotherapy, um, that's automatically allocated for the student.
Okay, beauty. You've given me a nice springboard here because we do have a question from the registration about nursing specifically, and sort of a general question about the time frame and the application process, specifically for nurse practitioner nursing. And then maybe you could speak a little bit more broadly to the application process, general tuition, because Simran is wondering about that, as well as potential proof of English proficiency.
Yeah, so in terms of application processes, so as a general, I guess it's probably the same for most of our, other than medicine, where you can apply via UCAS, um, and that you upload obviously your grades that you've got so far. I know you may not have your final grades yet, as they'll be coming in the summer, but you can apply with your provisional grades or the grades that you've got so far and your personal statement. And then you also need obviously two references as well. And then we'll look at the grades that you've got and offer you a conditional offer based on those grades in hopes that you would in the condition that you will get obviously meet the requirements. And then we'll look at your personal statement. And again, as you mentioned about the application process and things, looking at your personal statement, saying, obviously putting extracurricular things in there, but saying why certain subjects that you're doing at the moment are going to help the course that you're wanting to study. And also a top tip for personal statements is at the end, maybe, but one or two sentences about where you're going to go with this course. Some of the courses may be obvious if it's a vocational course, but in terms of business, do you have a business plan? You don't have to say your whole business plan in your personal statement, but just as like a direct kind of idea or future career that you have, so they can see that you're choosing this course for a career that you have in mind. Again, obviously, it doesn't matter if you don't do that once you graduate, because obviously through university you may change your mind, but it just shows that you've got some idea of what you're going to do afterwards. And then in terms of English proficiency, we do ask for, obviously, if you're from a non-English speaking country, we do ask for IELTS. Depending on the country, we may be able to accept your high school English, but again, that depends on what country, or it will be an IELTS test that you'll have to do. But yeah, if you have any general admissions questions like that, then please feel free to email us and we can get you in touch with our admissions team that can give you a bit more detailed information about what kind of IELTS or the high school English language level grade that you'll need. Have I answered all the questions? I feel like I think that was everything.
Yeah, sorry, I sort of rolled many into
Yeah.
one. I think you hit each piece. The IELTS thing is pretty common, certainly here in Canada as well. It sounds like there is potentially a way to kind of get around it. Maybe if you graduate with an Ontario or a Canadian diploma from a high school, but I suppose the age-old adage always holds true. When in doubt, reach out.
Exactly.
Yes, right on. Okay, so that more or less covers the questions that we had in the chat and in the registration process. Any sort of parting words of wisdom or maybe topics that we haven't addressed yet that you think our audience should be aware of?
Um, I would think, yeah. So the one thing I'd say is that You may have not heard, I guess, of the University of Worcester, and it may be a bit difficult to pronounce, but do have a look at the courses that we offer. Students come to us and love the support that we have. We have a smaller class sizes than some bigger universities, and a lot of students love the fact and take real advantage of this because all the facilities that you see, all the equipment that you see, it's all for our students to use. You're not watching the lecturer use a piece of equipment and it's just for research students to use. We really are hands-on, really engaging, and really try and get the best out of the students. You know, the lecturers put the students first and they guide them and help them get their best that they can once they graduate. So have a little look at what we've got. If you've got any questions, other questions that you can think of, please do let me know. But yeah, thank you very much for listening.
Well, thank you, Eleanor. To that end, I have put some useful links in the chat as well as your email, so folks can reach you directly if they have questions they may be too shy to vocalize. Otherwise, yeah, do check out the University of Worcester website. Reach out to Eleanor with any questions. And otherwise, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And thanks for joining us. Big thanks to you, Eleanor, for taking some time
Thank
out of
you.
your evening to share your expertise.
Thank you very much.
See you later.
See you. Bye.